guys, it's Archetype Speaks here with speech tips for beginners, and welcome to the first episode of the Review Corner. This corner was just another way to help people understand how to use these things, because it's a one thing, like I said, to say it, but it's another thing to see it in action. And this is exactly what I'm going to show you through this video. So let's get started with a little background of the video I reviewed today. This is the first speech that I and my speech coach constructed for public speaking competitions, and I was spontaneously told to present it in front of my class in preparation for my next competition. This is a perfect video to use because it has a couple of faults and also draft versions of the tips that I have been posting about all along. This week, I will only focus on the introduction and break it up into parts because this video is quite lengthy when it comes to reviewing, so I'll take my time and spread it over a couple of weeks. So let's get right into it.
Wonder Woman was the biggest hit of the summer, and there's no surprise why. Finally, females from all over the world were given their own cinematic version of Superman. A woman who was super fast, super strong, and super skinny. Sure, I'm happy with the fact that we're seeing more female protagonists in action movies, being portrayed as fierce and strong. However, why is it that all male superheroes look super buff and all the females look like Victoria's Secret models? In movies like Captain America, Batman, and Superman, the guys are super muscular. The actors, Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, and Chris Evans, all look like bodybuilders. But when we cast female superheroes, Hollywood only wants them to be pretty and thin. Why? Women do CrossFit too. This brings us to our topic today: Hollywood's female protagonist archetype. In order to fully understand this, we must explore common media misconceptions, the lack of actresses with a strong build, and male Hollywood producers' roles in actresses' figures.
Okay, so that was the introduction. It was about 1 minute and 30 seconds. I saw a lot of faulty things, but I also saw the attempt to use the speech tips that I've learned from my coach and also the ones that I've already portrayed and delivered to you guys. So I'm gonna go back and start from the beginning again, and then I'm gonna be pausing it at certain strategic points to show you what's the best way to fix them and the best way to make them better, essentially. So let's do that right now.
Wonder Woman was the biggest hit of the summer, and there's no surprise why.
First of all, I'm going to point out my hand gestures. As you can see, I was a little nervous, and you can tell that because my hand gestures and hand movements were not directly correlated to what I was saying. So essentially, when I was talking about Superwoman and it's being the greatest thing of the, of the summer, my hands were doing kind of this weird thing, and I was keeping myself closed. And there's a difference between closed and open, and I can also make a video about that, how to make your body posture open instead of closed, because two of those things show different things. And I actually made a video about body posture, but I did not mention about being opened and closed. And in the video about body posture, I told you guys that everything matters and everything must be in direct correlation to your speech so that it can enhance your speech and tell your audience that what I'm saying is true, I'm confident, and I know what I'm saying. Let's continue.
Finally, females from all over the world were given their own cinematic version of Superman. A woman who was super fast, super strong, and super skinny.
And this is where I told you guys that pauses are super important. And this was my most recent video, episode 11. Go check it out if you have not seen it already. Pauses are so important. That you can start in one direction with your audience, and then you put a pause And then you can shift the entire speech, but you need to have that pause. Imagine you're rumbling a whole sentence together and you're talking about 3 different things, but if you have pauses to separate those ideas, it will definitely be more coherent to what your audience needs to hear. That pause was good. I will give myself some points and credit for that. Adding that pause showed the audience everything I was saying up until now made sense, but the next thing I'm gonna say is gonna contradict it. And that is exactly what happened there. You know, I was talking about she's super strong, she's fit, she's cool, but she's skinny. So that definitely contradicted to everything I had said previously. Let's keep going.
Sure, I'm happy with the fact that we're seeing more female protagonists in action movies, being portrayed as fierce and strong. However, why is it that all male superheroes look super buff and all the females look like Victoria's Secret models?
And this is again where I said hand gestures and body language is super important. I painted a picture with my movements, you know, supermodels putting their hands to their sides and, you know, super strong, putting my muscles up. So these are super helpful to my speech. They didn't go against it, they helped it, they enhanced it. And also facial expressions. Again, I told you, my face can tell a story for no reason. It's super expressive. And throughout this speech so far, in the 40 seconds that we watched, you can tell my facial expressions. When I'm super excited about something, I put on a smile. And then when things don't make sense to me, I drop the smile, my face is scrunched up in curiosity, I'm questioning things. So I think that's where I was going with the facial expressions. Everything that I was saying had a facial expression, and that is important. I want to tell you that overdoing anything, any of these 11 speech tips is not good. I kind of overdid the facial expressions, and I can tell. It's literally as if you're cooking. You're not gonna add a lot of salt, a lot of pepper, you know, you're not gonna put a lot of these ingredients because you want it to have an even taste. Something that's not too salty, something not too spicy. You want an even or neutral taste. And, you know, with all of these things, you have to be careful with doing too much of your hands and distracting your audience, you know, doing too much facial expressions that they're focused more on your face than what you're saying, and just keeping all of that in mind.
Movies like Captain America, Batman, and Superman, the guys are super muscular. The actors, Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, and Chris Evans, all look like bodybuilders. But when we cast female superheroes, Hollywood only wants them to be pretty and thin. Why? Women do CrossFit too. This brings us to our topic today: Hollywood's female protagonist archetype. In order to fully understand this, we must explore common media misconceptions, the lack of actresses with strong builds, and male Hollywood producers' roles in actresses' figures.
Okay, that is the end of the introduction. And the last 2 things that I will add, based on the speech tips that I have presented already, is inflection and eye contact. I definitely scanned the room effectively. Eye contact is so important. It makes your audience feel like they're having a conversation with you and they're, you know, having that interaction. So don't forget, eye contact is super important. I think I did that effectively here. So another pat on my back for that. And the last thing is inflection. If you noticed, before I ended the introduction, I changed my tone. Throughout the entire introduction, I was up here, I was down here, I was questioning, I was upset, I was happy. You know, I had the inflection in my voice, but when I got to the thesis statement, so I dropped the tone in my voice. And you have to remember, when you're having an informative part in your speech, that you make sure your audience gets the information. It's no longer about entertaining, because that's what the attention grabber does in your introduction. It's about getting your information across to your audience. So I think that's another thing that I really did good at. Overall, I think I did an okay job. I did a little too much with facial expressions and with hand gestures. Eye contact was good, definitely even throughout, and a lot of things I could have worked on, but it's been 3 years and I think I'm doing better now. This concludes the first episode of the Review Corner. Thank you so much for joining in today. We will do another video, which was going to be the body of the essay, and we are going to show more and more about how I could have done better and how you can do better as well. Thank you so much. This has been Adiranke Adilike with Speech Tips for Beginners. See you next time.